Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name's Colton, and I like to talk about Bibles, books, and theology-related things. And today, we're going into our Old Saints series. Last one of these videos I did, we talked about the Puritans sort of as a whole. Today, I want us to talk about the Prince of Preachers, as he's called, Spurgeon, Charles Haddon Spurgeon. So let's get into this briefly.
I fix my eyes on Christ. I fix my eyes.
I'm not going to give you a biography on Spurgeon. There's plenty of those out there that are written very well, and his life and his story is fascinating, so I'm not trying to put that down, but I want to talk about who this man was and why he's so important to so many today without getting super biographical. So Spurgeon was a Baptist preacher. Spurgeon lived in the 1800s, and he started preaching very young. Again, I'm not trying to do a biography, but this is kind of important because it's been inspirational, I think, to me. Oftentimes I feel inadequate at my age, and I think Spurgeon really is a good example of someone who can be quite young and start pastoring and preaching and do it well. He definitely gives us that example. He is known to just be a great communicator in general. You can read his sermons today. As a matter of fact, I have this book. I'm going to show you a few books that I have from him. I have this one that has his sermon notes. This is a one-volume, simple way to read some of the notes, some of the things Spurgeon talked about. You can also get major, huge volumes of his sermons. His sermons were recorded, not with audio, but typed out. But he was known as a just wonderful communicator. He loved the sovereignty of God. He loved the Bible. He actually loved the Puritans, who we talked about last time on this series. And you can definitely tell he loved the Puritans. He talks about being, a young child reading his grandfather's Puritan books. So he's known for a lot of those things. He's known for this book, which is, again, just typed out things. Lectures to My Students. He had a pastor's college. And I think this book has been a tremendous resource to me. It's downright funny sometimes. I mean, Spurgeon was quite a funny guy just in general. But in Lectures to My Students, just even some of the instruction he gives and some of the strong opinions he has, I wouldn't probably hold those opinions today, but he held them. An example of that would be like, he thought that men who couldn't speak really loudly shouldn't be pastors because you needed to project. You needed a barrel chest and you needed to project so everyone could hear you. And of course, he was pastoring in a time before amplification, but he kind of took that as a sign that if you couldn't speak loudly, you were not called to preach or something to that effect. I don't agree with that per se. I'm just saying there's some funny stuff, but he's known for equipping other men to preach as well as preaching wonderfully himself. So if you wanted to know about, and you've heard people talk about this guy, about Spurgeon before, his name gets brought up quite often, and maybe you're like, I want to read this supposed Prince of Preachers. I want to understand who this is. What's an easy way to get into reading some of the works of Spurgeon? I would recommend starting with his devotional, Morning and Evening. These are short readings. This one was edited by Alistair Begg, and they put a modern Bible version in there. It does have the ESV, even though Spurgeon would have preached from the KJV. This is a great resource because they're daily, like it suggests, morning and evening readings for you to sort of enjoy and get into it. Also, just want to give a quick shout out to a particular Baptist Heritage Books. These volumes, they're very nice, high quality volumes, and these are all Spurgeon books. Just a few of them. There's Calvinism Considered, Till He Come, and Childhood Conversions. Some really nice editions that they've put together from Spurgeon. So, yeah, I'll have all this stuff linked down there for you to check out. There's also the Spurgeon Study Bible. I actually do have this in the King James, in the KJV, Spurgeon Study Bible. There's kind of a picture of him right there. This is a cool resource. So yeah, Spurgeon, and I can just say how he's impacted me is just simply reading some of his sermons and the way that he's able to connect you to the gospel is so powerful and so helpful. And it's actually, I believe it's in his lectures to my students. He actually instructs his students, if there's no Christ in your sermon, then you should go home and never preach again until you have something worth preaching. And Spurgeon modeled that. He really brought Christ into and revealed Christ in every sermon he preached, and the beauty of Jesus. It was just done so well, and he's an encouragement to read his sermons and just really, and I know some people are weird about feelings, but he just stirs the affections so well to love Jesus more. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, that's one of the reasons why I love the Puritans. It's one of the reasons why I love some of these older saints, is they just do that for me more. They stir my affections for Jesus. Now, they do give me lots of knowledge. They do fill my head with good knowledge and biblical truth and theology. But I don't just want theology. I want doxology. This is just me personally, but I think it's kind of a Christian desire. It should be. We don't want to simply fill our head with knowledge of God. We want to know not just things about God. We want to know God. We want to worship God. We want to adore God. And I want my affections stirred for God. Every time I read my Bible, my hope is that God will stir my affection for him from his word, not just my mind. I'm not saying every time I read a Spurgeon sermon or every time I crack my Bible, I expect it to be just this emotional avalanche. No, but I do think it's a healthy desire to want your affection stirred to love Jesus even more than you could imagine. And Spurgeon, I think, is very helpful at doing that, at presenting and putting before us Christ in a way that just not only connects to the head and the truth about him, but tugs on the heart and stirs the affection for the person of Jesus Christ. So that's why I love Spurgeon. I highly recommend you checking out some of these books, and even, just start with morning and evening. Read Spurgeon. He's great. I really think you'll find him to be a blessing and a friend to you who is long dead, but yet we still have his words in print. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching and checking this video out. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this sort of content, and I'll see you in the next video.